even when you lost. There's always a hope. Rise and fight.
Back to the Bombastic StarLeague Season 21. Loser bracket, quarterfinals. I'm joined in the caster booth by none other than zZZZero. How are you doing today, Ozzy?
Doing fantastic, Jean. Looking forward to more StarCraft, as always, every time I do this. Really excited about the games today again. I know I say this every single day. I think every single cast I say I'm excited about the games, but genuinely, like, especially this round, every game is like top tier, so I'm pretty stoked. Yeah. Starting off with the ZZ eOnzErG versus StRyKeR. You know, we saw Eon, even though he lost 3-0 to Crossy. I've been hearing a lot about how good his ZVZ is, and he even believes it's his best as well. So I think Crossy was just really on point and kind of had Eon's number yesterday. But Eon showed me a lot that really made me a fan of how he plays ZVZ.
Yeah, I think this is going to be way closer of a ZVZ than Crossy versus eOnzErG, and I actually might be looking towards eOnzErG winning it. If I had to put money on these two, I don't know, I just feel like I'd be putting my money on eOnzErG out of these two. Like, StRyKER's a really good player, but he's nowhere near as good in ZVZ as someone like Sziky or Crossy. So I actually feel like eOnzErG's got a really strong shot today. And then after that, you've got Sziky and Bonyth as well. We're kind of spoiled for choice. Two exceedingly good best of fives to look forward to tonight. I reckon they're all going to be absolute bangers of games. Yeah,
absolutely. I believe so. You know, Sziky, even though, again, it was 2-3-0s yesterday, but I genuinely felt like the series yesterday were both, like, really good. Usually, if you just look at the score, it looks like it was a stompy day, but the games are actually really high quality. And if Sziky brings that same level of play against Bonyth today, and just kind of cleans up a little bit of his later, you know, kind of late game or finishes it up a bit cleaner, then I think Bonyth is going to have a really tough series ahead of him.
Yeah, quite possibly. I mean, he did kind of choke a little bit against eOnzErG. He claims it was something to do with a migraine. I don't know if that's quite true or if he's just trying to make excuses. Who knows? But yeah, if he's still having some problems, he did look a little bit shaky against eOnzErG, and Sziky could really slap him down if he's not on the top of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I spoke to Bonyth actually this morning. He was streaming, getting some games in to kind of be ready for the games today, and I just joined his channel and I was like, hey, I'll be casting your games with the utmost bias today. And then he asked me, he was like, bias for which one? Because he's actually been hearing a lot about how a lot of people are actually rooting for Sziky against him, which I think he doesn't experience too often because Bonyth is typically a fan favorite.
Definitely.
But I think a lot of it is that we don't want to see Sziky quit StarCraft, and he's been saying for a while if he doesn't win this BSL, he is going to quit, and nobody wants to see that because he is one of the best foreign Zergs out there, period.
Yeah, I hope he's just going through an emotional stage in his life. I really hope he doesn't quit. He's quite unironically one of the best foreigner Zergs we've ever had. He's seriously sick at the game. I even casted some games today in 2v2 show match for Eslon. He played against Scan on the other 2v2 team, and he was playing fantastically well. He looked really super sick and stellar. It would be such a shame to see him drop out from the running.
Yeah, it would be. Looking at the thing here, one thing I've noticed with every single Zerg player, I don't think I've seen a single Zerg player whose favorite unit wasn't the Mutalisk, which kind of checks out.
It's a pretty good unit.
Yeah, it's a fun unit to use. I learned Mutamicro here kind of recently-ish in the last couple months.
Nice.
Yeah, and it makes me want to actually just play ZVT all day, even though I would never be able to win. The Mutaphase is just so fun. Yeah.
I mean, I even have fun micro mutas on like turn rate 12 extra high. I'll still do it. You know, it's just that fun of a unit to use. You got to do it, man. It's quite literally the best unit for Zerg. If there was an S tier unit, Mutalisks are right ahead of any other S tier unit that exists.
Yeah. Quick look through the pick band here. We're going to be starting off with Radion, which was StRyKER's pick, and then dominated by eOnzErG, and then Litmus actually from StRyKER. So we're not going to get the typical Roaring Current plus Litmus veto. And I will say, because we're guaranteed to get Litmus today, one way or another, I think it's the most interesting ZVZ map by far.
Well, it adds a lot of dynamicness to how they can open, because being able to play like 2 gas of 1 base completely changes a lot of situations. There's plenty of times where one guy will have a gas advantage over the other, and also, you know, gives you plenty of options just to stay on 1 base. You can just make a 12 hatch in main or whatever you want to do, and it totally shifts what is usually expected in ZVZ. So I think it's going to be super exciting to see these two on Litmus. Yeah,
I'll definitely be keeping an eye on how they want to play it, especially with the eOnzErG, because he, like I said, he has a bit of a... He kind of has a unique approach to the game in general. He typically favors aggression, it feels like. And what I was seeing yesterday in his games with Crossy, and Machine was making me aware before it happened, is that Eon's aggression and like actual lane control and activity with his lanes seems extremely taxing for other Zerg players to deal with.
Yeah, it's kind of really bizarre to me still. Like, I've been playing StarCraft for such a long time. Like, I remember back in the day where eOnzErG was not that great of a Zerg, and a lot of people that weren't even that good were clowning on him. So I kind of, even though I'm not like related to him anyway, he's not my son, he's not my brother, I still kind of feel this like deep sense of like proudness of him. You know what I mean? Like, he's come so long, come so far as a player. I really respect this guy, and it kind of blows my mind to think that this is the same guy from all the way back in the day that's now playing at this high of level. You got to respect him for grinding it out so long.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right, looks like our players are ready. They popped in the game here, so we're going to join them here. It's going to be our first game. It's going to be eOnzErG versus StRyKER here on Radion.
Let's get it. Spawning here.
You know what? You take the lead, Jean. You got
it. Spawning here in the top right, representing America, StRyKER.
And his opponent here in the bottom left. Going to be opposite corners. We have our red Zerg player, eOnzErG.
Cross map, okay. I mean, that can draw out the game a little bit sometimes. Let's see what they want to go for here, because I really like overpool style builds. I don't really like going for 9 pool in ZVZ. I'm not sure how these guys feel about it. Would like to see like an overpool, or maybe something a bit more economically centric.
So from what I saw yesterday, and from my conversation with StRyKER, what I expect... Okay, so it's not going to be what I expected at all.
Yeah.
Well, all right, so it's going to be a 9 pool from both players, yeah? So
on Radion, no less.
Yeah, on Radion too, and it's going to be crawl spawns. This is kind of interesting. We're going to have mirror builds with this really big travel distance. So it feels like this game actually might go a bit longer than what we're used to seeing ZVZ. I mean, of course, there's always something that can happen with it being such a dynamic matchup, but yeah, this kind of leans towards a potential longer game for sure.
Yeah, and like, who knows? Like, maybe they both go aggressive with the 9 pool, and one of them finds the other guy first, and suddenly there's, you know, more damage taken on one side right off the bat. Anything can happen. And also, we'll have to see, is it going to be a 9 pool speed or lair? The meta has shifted in recent years. 9 pool lair is a lot more popular than it used to be. So I'm curious where that first 100 gas is going to go for these guys.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because you do see a lot of speed first nowadays, and it looks like it's going to be speed for both players. So
okay.
There you go. Mirror opening so far.
Yeah, and if they don't find each other right off the bat, or one player gets lucky, this could really drag out. Like, there's a chance that this drags out into being, quite long as far as ZVZ is concerned. Well, even like beyond 6 or 7 minutes is quite reasonably long for some ZVZs, considering how they can usually be decided just by link micro alone in the early game.
Okay, this could actually get really weird.
Oh yeah, it's gonna get weird.
So they might be both hitting each other
I thought this
at
might
the
happen.
exact same time. Yeah. StRyKeR does at least get the information first, but we see, instantly Eon turns around. Eon actually reacted a bit faster, so he's going to have a pretty decent advantage as far as getting to StRyKeR's base first, and he's got some initial damage on this link here in the middle. And yeah, this could get gotta be careful. Every little hit makes a huge difference in these link fights.
Such a big deal. He's got a ZZZero kill already. eOnzErG is in a massive lead. Speed kicks in, helping him surround another link. 2 lings are down, and another one is softened up, but a bit of compensation there for StRyKeR, killing 2 links of his own. eOnzErG trying to challenge the ramp right now. There is a defender's advantage, obviously, for StRyKeR, so eOnzErG probably doesn't want to press that issue. Instead, wants to get back home and make sure he doesn't take any damage to these links from StRyKeR that are making their way over now.
Yeah, that was that came out surprisingly even. It started off really well for Eon, but his rally actually got caught by StRyKeR on the other side of things. It does look like Eon went back on gas a little bit sooner, so he's gonna have a slight maybe gas advantage, but his Spire starting a little bit later, which that doesn't really matter in these spawns.
No, it probably won't play much of a factor, no, with these distances. Yeah, if it was something like Lost Temple or Paranoid Android, where you're spawning right next to each other, maybe it would come into play. But in this situation, yeah, I doubt it. But I mean, eOnzErG did kill another Zergling of StRyKeR. He caught one of those 3 lings that were out on the map. He's got his ramp blocked. He's going to challenge this as an L-shaped contain on top of the ramp here for StRyKeR. That's the easiest way to get a ling block going. Ideally, you want a smooth arced concave, but it's a lot harder and time consuming to set up. So going for like an L shape, typically the order of business for most Zerg players when they're in a panic.
Yeah, and we actually saw a lot yesterday that eOnzErG will challenge that wall constantly with his lings. He was doing it with Crossy, and yeah, he kind of forces. Okay, he's gonna force his way up the ramp here, but StRyKeR gets a pretty good angle, but does he win this fight, actually? It's
not quite. All the reinforcements, though. He does get 2 lings extra out, so it just barely hangs on. There's another couple of lings of eOnzErG showing up, but not enough to break the ramp anymore. StRyKeR doing a good job of hanging on there.
Yeah, StRyKeR actually traded really well at the end of the day, and we see him enjoying a little bit of a supply lead, although that is mostly just in the mutas that have started a little bit preemptively.
Yeah. Yeah, I think also eOnzErG made slightly less lings recently, and eOnzErG squeezing out a drone. So most of that supply lead is just in a few extra Zerglings on the ground. So yeah, this could get interesting. Maybe StRyKeR can try and punish with these Zerglings and try and go for a run by after the mutas are already out on the map. Because only 2 lings blocking. And if eOnzErG gets aggressive with his initial mutas, these lings could backstab a little bit later on.
Yeah, that's always a thing you have to worry about in this matchup too, is those little ling backstabs, especially when things are really chaotic. You slip in like 2 lings or something, and they can just end the game. Like if you kill like 1 or 2 drones, it's such a massive advantage.
Yeah. You just can't afford to replace the drones. Now you haven't got lava that are being spent on mutas. You're not optimally mining anymore. The other player's going to be just making more stuff than you, and a tiny little bit of advantage in the air is all it takes to really tip the scales one way or the other.
Yeah, and what you pointed out, actually, what you just brought up, that's a really good point, is that especially in this mirror build, it was 9 pull versus 9 pull speed, right? And the larva resource is extremely limited in this mirror.
Yeah, really majorly so. Literally, like 1 lava could make or break the game.
All right, so here is a little bit of a variation. We got StRyKeR went for the hatchery, whereas eOnzErG plopped down a creep colony to get an extra leader or scourge out here.
Probably Scourge or something. That's just a testament to what we're talking about. Like, this game is so razor thin on tempo that making a creep to squeeze out 1 extra supply is actually important and could become a relevant factor, especially if you want to be aggressive.
Yeah, does catch 1 ling out here in the center. Because StRyKeR is taking this expansion, he's going to be on the back foot just a little bit here. eOnzErG's definitely going to be looking to get some aggression going, and if StRyKeR defends, then his win condition basically becomes staying alive.
Yeah, okay, so it seems like actually it was pretty much pure muta from eOnzErG, besides one pair of Scourge. We did make that one extra pair of Scourge to help support, whereas StRyKER's gone for slightly more Scourge, 4 instead of 2. And this can hurt you or help you, depends on the situation. Like sometimes the Scourge zone out the mutas while you're getting shots off for free, but sometimes also you mistime it, so they're able to micro down the Scourge in outside of the range of the other mutas anyway, so they don't really provide much value. It's kind of random how that plays out and how they position their mutas, and it's a lot harder for the Scourge muta guy to get full effectiveness out of those Scourge to make sure his mutas are always in range while the Scourge are zoning.
Yeah, it's two very different micros essentially. But I was actually talking about this some yesterday. I brought it up as well, where the muta Scourge versus muta Scourge is way more micro intensive than people would originally say, right?
Yeah.
Like to say, oh, it's about who has more mutas, but that's not always necessarily true. The fights can actually get really chaotic and really hard to handle and manage.
Yeah, and a lot of times people miss micro because it's that chaotic.
Yeah, exactly.
Looks like an Overlord slightly exposed. He's going to get at least 2 volleys off on it. Probably will kill it. That's actually a pretty big deal. Supply blocking StRyKER at this junction. He can now back off and fill out his own supply while StRyKER's... Ooh, if he catches the mutas though, pretty good. And Scourge coming in, so it's going to be tougher for eOnzErG to stay and fight. Doing some good patrol micro, but does find good connections with StRyKER's Scourge, and a slight muta lead for StRyKER being leveraged, but eOnzErG not quite able to catch up with the Scourge. Finally does find some connections, so now eOnzErG should win in the fight at long last with some good target firing on the weaker mutas first. Managed to turn that fight around in a very strong way. Like that was looking like it could have been StRyKER's for a while there, but really good crisis management from eOnzErG.
Yeah, and StRyKER might actually be in a little bit of trouble here. eOnzErG going to catch these 2 lings in the middle here, and I guess eOnzErG, he's taking his own hatchery now in the main, or sorry, his own natural. We see a bunch of Scourge pop out for StRyKER, and you know, Scourge are kind of that, they're really good if there's not enough mutas to like easily volley them down. But once the muta count gets higher, if you don't have mutas with this Scourge, they're kind of dead in the water essentially. Like they can still get those connections and stuff, but if the other Zerg plays really well, then yeah, it can be a bit of a donation almost.
Yeah, he might still get damage against 4 because there's not a lot of splash damage to kill all of the Scourge quick enough. But oh my gosh, if he gets this Overlord, I mean, it doesn't actually supply block StRyKER because he lost so many mutas, but it's just one more lava he's going to have to eventually put into an Overlord, and 100 minerals he doesn't want to waste, which means he'll be even more Scourge-centric than he would like to be. And he's already got pretty much predominantly Scourge in the sky. Trying to get a few lings out on the map to kind of make eOnzErG worried about that, but eOnzErG not having any of it does a good job of putting a lot of damage onto these Zerglings as they start to exit. More and more Zerglings, though, are trickling out. He's dumping a lot of gas into Scourge to free up extra minerals for those Zerglings to go on the counter-offensive and kind of defend by attacking here. Yeah, he just kind of wants eOnzErG off of him for a second, right? So he can start to really secure this gas, because he's really not feeling comfortable right now. His muta count got completely reset, and he's got a bunch of Scourge, and he just wants to fill it out with some mutas so they can actually try to fight a little bit better. Some lings are going to slip inside. We'll see if they can find any drone damage here. Yeah, I think the mutas are going to just show up in the time, but he does get 1 drone. That's something. It's a little bit less valuable at this stage in the game when you've got 2 hatcheries worth of production, but it still matters. There's still a bit of a win there for StRyKER. Does give him compensation for investing in those lings, and he's got a lot of breathing room thanks to the mutas being turned around the entire map. But a massive air superiority and advantage to eOnzErG right now. StRyKER could be in a lot of trouble unless he finds the absolute pinnacle of Scourge connections while also avoiding the Scourge of eOnzErG. Yeah. Does Eon have... Oh, he actually kills that with Scourge. Bit of overkill, but it's supply blocking StRyKER right now, so it's not the end of the world either way. Does get one of those Scourge, but the other one connects. 2 Zerglings in the main base and the natural, causing an absolute panic for StRyKER. He needs to stay and fight against the mutas of eOnzErG. Why the drones are going to town on... why the Zerglings are going to town on the drones in the main base of StRyKER. So many drones are going down. Oh my gosh, this could be game. Yeah, StRyKER just taking a massive hit in the economy here, and he's going to end up losing the air battle as well as losing a bunch of drones, so I feel like GG is just around the corner here. eOnzErG doing a great job of kind of
Oh, looks like there was a bit of a counterattack from StRyKeR as well, but yeah, eOnzErG gonna take this win. GG called from StRyKeR.
Yeah, I'm not too surprised to see eOnzErG pick up a lead in this. I think he's slightly better at StRyKeR and ZVZ as a whole, so I definitely would be putting money on him out of these two gamers. StRyKER's still capable of turning it around, though. ZVZ, very volatile matchup. All it takes is one little slip up from eOnzErG here, or even just getting unlucky. Sometimes a Ling backstab comes in at the wrong time and you're just dead, and there's no way you can really stop it. Anything can happen.
Yeah, eOnzErG just did a good job of playing that game out, and it comes down, especially in these little mirrors like this, especially these super low eco mirror builds, where just the little bits of picks and advantages that you can get really add up a lot faster than you would think. Like getting one extra Ling kill here or something actually can make a huge difference in the long run.
I think what it comes down to mainly here, because eOnzErG is a lot more aggressive in his style, it allows him to be proactive, and it forces StRyKeR to be reactive. And in StarCraft, generally speaking, it's so much harder to be a reactive player unless you're already a better player than the other guy and you can keep up with what's going on. It's really tough to do. Sometimes offense just makes the game a little bit simpler to follow for you, and kind of keep asking questions of the other guy, and he's going to run out of answers. We're going into game number 2 now on Dominator, StRyKeR versus eOnzErG. Let's get it. Spawning here in the top left, currently 1-0 down, representing America, StRyKeR.
Here in the bottom spawn, showing a bit of superiority in his unit control and decision making here. We got eOnzErG up 1-0. And there's something you said that I feel like really describes Eon like really well. Is that he plays in a way, and you see this a lot from like the really good players, like with Bonyth and players like that as well, right? Where they basically play a style that guarantees that they're going to have control of the tempo. And it's very hard to wrestle that away from these players.
Absolutely, yeah. And there's certain matchups that's easier to do. Like if you're playing 2-hatch meter against Terran, you're in the driver's seat as the Zerg. If you were to go 3-hatch Spire, obviously you're giving that tempo back to the Terran. But even in these mirrors, you can find ways of playing that really forces your opponent to think about how to react to you rather than go about their own game plan. I think that's the best thing in StarCraft in general, where you can not only control the tempo of the game, but kind of limit the options that your opponent has, and they might not be able to play to their forte as a result.
Yeah. Okay, looks like we got overgas this time.
It looks like it, I think.
No, sorry. Is it?
Well,
I wasn't paying attention.
I'm not sure as well. I think it's about the same time, so it could be overpool gas taken around the same time, actually,
Yeah.
Right, this is a 12 pull from eOnzErG.
Yeah, I think it was just overpool gas. But yeah,
so
Eon showed us yesterday that he did 12 pull in all 3 games. And I was talking to StRyKeR in the Discord last weekend, and he seems to be a really big fan of overgas. So I thought we would see a bit more of that, but it looks like this is just overpool gas.
Well, I like overpool gas. I think it's one of the stronger ZVZ builds. I think it's the most cookie cutter way of playing ZVZ. It's very versatile. It is weak against some things. Like obviously a 12 pull is just technically more ahead of you, economically speaking. But I don't think it's like such a deficit that you're just dead in the water either. I think it's kind of okay against everything. It's obviously better against 9 pull and what have you, but I think it's a very versatile way especially if you're like playing on the ladder and you don't even know who you're playing against. I think it's a great way of opening up.
Yeah, I've kind of become a fan of this build recently from StRyKeR. I hadn't seen it until just recently, and Crossheat did it twice yesterday as well against 12 pull and ended up winning both games. So it seems like there's a lot more options than I realized you would get playing overpool gas like this.
Well, say for example, if you see that it's not 9 pull coming your way, you can like make a drone, make a second hatchery right off the bat, and there's a lot of flexibility to the build based on what you scout. Putting on some pressure to eOnzErG right now, but Eon should be fine because this isn't a 9 pull. Like he's not that threatened by this at all. There's no quick gas to worry about, so the speed will be a little bit delayed than usual. The Ling timing a little bit delayed than usual, so he'll easily be able to pull the Lings necessary to stop any aggression here.
Yeah, the thing that StRyKeR has going for him in this build matchup is how insanely fast that Spire is actually going to be, right? So eOnzErG's he's gonna have to respect the speed of the mutas, but StRyKeR's gonna have to, on the other side, respect the amount of Zerglings that can be coming across the map, which is exactly what we see happening here.
He may, depending on what he scouts with the Overlords, he may be forced to make a sunken. Let's see. He's concaving the bottom of the ramp in an L shape. You'll see pretty much every Zerg like do their link concaves like this, because it's just so much harder to get them lined up in the proper way. Like, you'll see pro gamers obviously do like a nice smooth concave, but you have to be like pixel perfect to get it set up, and sometimes it takes so long that the guy will start breaking you as you're finishing setting it up.
Yeah, and this one doesn't really have any weaknesses. We had been seeing Eon would test the wall quite a bit. Like, if there's a link sticking out that he can hit without getting hit by another link hit, he'll like always cycle and test that wall. But this setup from StRyKeR actually looks pretty good. I don't think there's a single link that can be hit where he doesn't have at least 2 attacking.
Yeah, first glance, it does look pretty tight. I don't think you can easily get any 2-on-1 options or even just 1-on-1 pickoffs. Like, it doesn't seem very flimsy at all. And he's got enough links where he can easily replace a link in the wall if he needs to. Okay, so Spire now going up for eOnzErG, but he is very much lagging behind the timing here of StRyKeR. He's gonna have to spore up. This is one of the advantages for playing overpool, is that even against something like a 12 pool, your units will usually be so much faster that you'll be forcing them to make spores, and it's not even a hatchery first build. So that kind of does give you a lot of compensation for only being on one hatchery for so long.
Yeah, and this does actually mean, you know, we were kind of talking about, this does mean the tempo is going to swing in StRyKeR's favor. And there's going to be a pocket on the bottom of the main there where we can actually fit some mutas down. We'll see if he finds that or not, because he can kind of at least, you know, harass the muta or the drones on the bottom right corner.
Yeah, and since there's only one hatchery, there's no option of StRyKeR mixing it up and flooding a lot of Zerglings. And even if he does do that, he has got a lot of Zerglings moving out right now, by the way. But I don't think enough to break eOnzErG, and Eon's being really smart and making a safety sunken behind this as well. With this SimCity of the Evo chamber, I don't think he's breaking it. It's a nice idea here from StRyKeR, trying to come in to help trade off the lings with the Mutalisks. Some of the lings do bleed through into the main. That could be a big deal, though. If he allows any of these Zerglings into the main, that could be problematic. There's already 2, and he might get a couple or more in, actually. Hang on. Suddenly, eOnzErG could be in a little bit of trouble here. He's making Scourge to help deal with the mutas since they build a lot faster, but some lings do get through.
Yeah, I mean, he killed a couple drones and he forced a sunken here on the bottom side, actually, which is not what that creep colony was supposed to be for. And that actually allows StRyKeR to continue to harass him here on the bottom side, and StRyKER's expanding behind us as well.
This is rough because like eOnzErG just can't mine Optimy right now. He's only got like a few patches he can mine from, and he's still losing drones despite mining from the safety patches. Some Scourge do try and find connections, but Scourge is so dumb because eOnzErG didn't manually control them entirely. They do kind of glitch out a little bit and just sit in the sky waiting to be shot. Scourge are quite literally the dumbest units in the game. It's insane. But some Zerglings of eOnzErG getting into the main base of StRyKeR, though, going to target some of those drones down. Pretty good drone sliding to get away from the most of the threat, but he does lose 1, might lose 2, does in fact lose 2 before cleaning that up. That's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, and we're actually going to hit this Overlord Scourge. I don't know how I feel about that exactly in this moment. It's not going to supply block StRyKeR, but yeah, I mean, when the dust settles, both Zerg players have lost a lot of drones, but StRyKeR has a very clear... Well, I don't know, actually, that natural is more saturated than I realized. He's just got a bunch of mutas in the air. That's where the supply lead is right now.
Yeah, it's hard to say for sure. Like, there's definitely a tempo lead for StRyKeR, but he can leverage it because of the sunken instead of spore in the main. He probably should go back into the main to pressure this, but there's not really anything he can pick off. Like, he can't really do anything to eOnzErG. Eon's being quite clever and has got most of that drone saturation, the natural expansion. And this little link stab is really intelligent from eOnzErG. Just killing 1 drone and denying mining their natural. Such a pain in StRyKER's ass right now. This is absolute insanity. He even gets another drone. Oh my gosh. Okay, so StRyKER had the tempo, not anymore.
Yeah, I was gonna say, before that happened, I was worried for StRyKER long term because we got this double gas mining for eOnzErG. But after losing 3 more drones to those Lings, I'm now really, really worried for StRyKeR. He's going to be kind of stuck playing defensive and try to get his drone count back up. But eOnzErG is going to be mining a lot of gas while this is happening.
Yeah, because the funny thing about it as well is like that psychologically really affects StRyKeR as well. Like he's going to be a lot more passive with his mutas in this game because that just happened. Like you can see he's hovering around here with his mutas. He doesn't want to let that happen again. So he's going to be overly cautious as well. So there's like 0 chance of like maybe getting another drone snipe or 2 in the natural expansion or something before there's a, you know, threshold that's been met of muta scourge from eOnzErG. That's going to solidify the tempo going forward for eOnzErG even more. And that was the one tiny advantage that StRyKeR had, was there was this little moment of weakness where he could have maybe got a few more drone snipes and what have you. That's completely gone out the window. Now eOnzErG is kind of ahead in every metric.
Yeah, StRyKeR has a big gas bank with his mutas, but he doesn't have the income right now to actually spin the gas. So there's a little bit of a window here where eOnzErG has been pumping units nonstop while mining this extra gas, where before StRyKeR is able to spend all this gas, this is going to be a potential huge window. And eOnzErG, I feel like, is finding that window timing almost perfectly. This is a lot of mutas with a lot of Scourge coming across. It's the same muta count, but with a ton of extra Scourge.
I mean, maybe StRyKeR can pop out a few more Scourge to even out the odds right now. I'm not so sure. He does need to kind of do that to spend this gas. He's got hardly any minerals at all. But now the pressure's on. He's already going to start hitting this Overlord. That's going to supply block StRyKeR, making an already difficult situation even worse. Lots of Scourge for him to worry about. Going to be trying to zone out these mutas while getting damage connections on the chase micro. Perfect execution from eOnzErG, staying in range with those Scourge to do maximal damage to the mutalist of StRyKeR. 7 mutas to 1 right now. Such an advancement from eOnzErG in this game, going from being behind in the tempo to completely smacking StRyKeR down. You can see how good this guy has gotten over the recent years.
Yeah, that killer instinct that Eon has, which he displays quite often in a lot of the different matchups, but he like fully understood what his window was going to be, and he could not, I feel like, have hit it more perfect. StRyKeR had just established his eco where he wanted it, so it could go back into pumping air. And Eon had just been making more and more and more Scourge to go with his muta count. And yeah, that timing on that attack was literally perfect. Like, as the observer watching it, I was like, now would be the perfect time. And Eon's like, yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Well, if he waited like 30 more seconds, Strikers could have a bunch more Scourge or something, right? And the fight looks totally different. It was the perfect window, like you said. And I think you play the game enough, you kind of have like an internal body clock of like what a player can have when. And, you know, he got a lot of good scouting with those Lings that were killing drones, and he probably did a quick head count of like, I killed this many drones, you've got this many. You'll probably re-drone a little bit, you'll squeeze out an Overlord, and then you'll go back into pumping out mutas, and that's when I'm going to hit you right in as you're in that transition.
Yeah. And I wonder too, like, if we don't kill those 3, you know, if we don't get those 3 drones with those 2 Lings, that window doesn't exist either, I don't think, because StRyKER's economy would just be that much better that he would have been pumping army enough sooner, right? That I think he could have defended. So it's these little wins that Eon finds that, you know, he sees them accumulating, and he sees the window that opens up for him, and he snatched that victory. That was really well played.
Yeah, sometimes it's a little bit rock, paper, scissors in ZVZ. Not this time around. This is just eOnzErG outclassing StRyKER thus far, but we're pretty much ready to go into our next game now. StRyKER versus eOnzErG, game number 3. This is the litmus test. Spawning here in the top right. Needs to do a reverse sweep 3 games in a row, representing America, StRyKER.
His opponent here in the bottom right, showing constant, beautiful killer instinct. We have the red Zerg player, eOnzErG.
I mean, if eOnzErG keeps playing this good, this could be a 3-0, man. Like, this is crazy good high-level stuff that we're seeing from him. And he's making up for that series against Crossy. You can't really fault him for it, though. Like, Crossy's like a different kind of animal. And sometimes stylistically, players can just be better than you because they kind of line up to counter your style more. You know, like Crossy's really good at being reactive and dealing with your shenanigans. So you're kind of playing into his hands a little bit by going for something like eOnzErG style.
Yeah, I agree with that sentiment. I think I'm curious to see what we'll see here. This, kind of like we were talking about earlier, this map kind of lends itself to more economic builds where you can
Absolutely.
play one base very easily because you get access to that second gas. But I've also seen some Zergs, they'll play it like a normal 12 pull or something, right, to get that natural, and then have access to 3 gases later on if they want it. So it just kind of depends like how big your eyes are, right?
True. This is a capitalist map, you know. Sometimes the greedy end up getting one over, and it seems eOnzErG is going for that 12 pull here right off the bat, whereas a little bit more of a conservative play here from StRyKeR. Was that something like an overpull gas from him?
It was 11 pull.
Oh, 11 pull, okay. So yeah, nothing too crazy from both sides. Definitely playing a bit more reserved. No one's being super greedy. In top right, you've got this spot where you can kind of like position the hatchery above the second gas and kind of SimCity it up. It's kind of strong. You can still obviously puncture that with good timings, but yeah, these players don't want to take advantage of a strong SimCity this game, it seems.
Yeah, I'm curious with 11 pull. What exactly are you looking at counter with 11 pull? I don't fully understand this because I've never seen 11 pull.
9 pull and overpull, 11 pull is pretty solid against.
Yeah, but 12 pull is also fine against it, right? Or no? Yeah, it is fine.
Yeah, it's just more or less the same build. It's just more mineral optimizy. You know what I mean? Like when you go like 11 pull against Terran, like you're doing it to be razor thin with your timings. But if you mess up even just slightly with your mineral boosting and stuff, it doesn't work. You'd be better off going 12 pull. So if you're going 11 pull, usually you want to like squeeze out all your tech timings like a second faster, and you're really confident in how you optimize your minerals, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, we see drones here from eOnzErG, and Hatcher's going to be a little bit faster because he did do that later pull, so he got slightly more mineral mining than StRyKeR did. So just going to have like a slight eco advantage on the minerals, but the gas I guess would be slightly less, but it won't be by much.
There's one other thing that 11 pull is better at than 12 pull, and that's stopping 4 pull, but obviously 4 pull is like next to non-existent in ZVZ, so that's why I didn't say anything about it. But there's technically an argument that you'd go 11 pull instead of 12 pull because you're worried about 4 pull or 5 pull.
Yeah, okay. I would say that makes sense, but I haven't seen a 4 pull in ZVZ.
Yeah, you're not going to see it anymore. I have done it in a BWCL. I'll sometimes like throw out like a 5 pull with a sunken rush or something to really catch my opponent off guard. But yeah, you don't really see it anymore.
StRyKeR blocking his ramp with a couple drones. What is he worried about here? That's very interesting. Oh,
I'm a little bit confused actually, because he sees with his overlord that eOnzErG hasn't moved out.
Yeah. So he's gonna be blocking them with overlords and a Ling behind it, so that he's literally immune to Zerglings.
Yeah. So he's setting it up a bit ahead of the schedule because you kind of need, but he doesn't actually need to do it right this second because he sees that the Lings of eOnzErG haven't left the base, but he's setting it up ahead of schedule so that the Lings will auto aggro the Ling behind the drones, and because you can't actually click on, you actually can still click on the drones, but there's like a little tiny little 2 pixel window you can do it.
Yeah. Well, we'll see if eOnzErG can find that, because he does have these links going across the map. And I imagine this means that StRyKER's going to look purely for a counterattack and just rely on this to hold. And it looks
Can
like
you imagine Eon's face right now? Like, oh my god, I didn't expect this. He can actually click on the drones, it's just so hard to do. There's just a tiny little 2 pixel window he needs to click on. He can't find it. This is ridiculous. What are we watching?
He's trying to find it. He's like super focused on it. And while this is happening, the Lings have got into his main base.
Oh my god, this is such a crazy situation. You almost never see something like this. Oh, Beautilus get connected on by the Scourge as well. 2 of them are now on red HP. It's like eOnzErG just had a glitch. It's like eOnzErG.exe stopped working. He's never calculated in that. And that's kind of the disadvantage to being a grinder of a player. When things don't go your way, suddenly you just don't know how to improvise this weird situation.
That was crazy to watch, because that's exactly what happened. It looked like eOnzErG just had like a mental shutdown trying to get up that ramp. Like, he was completely AFK at home at that point. Like, we see the Lings running back and forth. He's like, what do I do? he's invincible. GG
He
gonna be
literally
called.
broke eOnzErG's brain this game. It's kind of crazy.
Oh man.
Oh my god. This is the problem with playing on autopilot on StarCraft, man. Like when you just go through the motions, if suddenly you're just shoved into the jungle and you don't have a machete on you, you're just lost.
Yeah. Yeah, that was actually really interesting to watch because eOnzErG had a plan, right? And he's like, I'm used to controlling the tempo. I'm going to control the tempo. I'm going to execute my plan. And he ran into a literal wall. And we saw about 30 seconds of, well, now what?
Quite literally, he was just glitching out. It was like he was trying to like code an update or something to fix the problem and couldn't manage it. It was absolutely insanity that we just saw. Really funny play from StRyKeR. And who knows, that could rattle eOnzErG. That could get under his skin. That could completely start to surmount the comeback that he needs, because eOnzErG might not be playing quite as sharp in these next 2 games.
Oh, very possible. I don't really know eOnzErG very well, but I know from his YouTube thumbnails that he seems to be an emotional player, so it's not impossible that he might be a little bit triggered by what just happened. When he wasn't controlling his main base, I thought he might be typing something at that point. Like I was waiting for it.
I really wish we had the player cams for eOnzErG.
Yeah.
Oh, I can imagine him doing like facial twitches and stuff, trying to figure out how to cope with that situation, man.
Yeah, I've never seen that in ZVZ before. I like that. Really creative. Yeah, that was cool. Very cool to see. Good
Big
win by
brain play.
StRyKeR.
Yeah, big brain play from him, and it might just be what he needs to get under eOnzErG's skin. We're going right into game number 4, though, guys. Time for knockout. Spawning here in the bottom life, the blue Zerg with the big brain plays StRyKeR.
And his opponent here is spawning in the bottom right corner, potentially slightly rattled from the last game. We'll see how he mentally recovers from that one. We have our red Zerg, eOnzErG.
Man, I thought Pimpus Plays was done with many years ago, but it seems like StRyKeR is trying to revitalize that series.
Yeah, and that's such a good read on the opponent himself, right? Like his Overlord, like you were saying, he had vision. There were no lings really being made yet, outside of kind of the starter lings. But he's set up for it preemptively because he's like, he knows how eOnzErG wants to play the game. So he just preemptively got this set up before the Ling Flood really even started.
I mean, it's very, very cerebral from StRyKeR because he also knows the type. Yeah, he knows the type of guy that he's up against. He knows he's this grinder style player that he's played thousands and thousands of games, but he's not played against that. He's not had to deal with that situation probably hardly at all ever. And his brain is just not going to be firing on hardly any cylinders, let alone all of them in that situation. And he quite literally just didn't know what to do with himself.
Yeah. We're going to get a 9 pull here from StRyKeR. eOnzErG has shown us 12 pull most every game that we've watched. And we are going to be getting a 12 hatch Jean. StRyKeR might be in eOnzErG's head.
Oh, it's an 11 hatch. Yeah, this is going to get spicy. If he finds him, I guess there's a chance that he doesn't know that he's bottom right. So he sends the links cross map initially and then has to hedge his bets. Probably will want to go close spawns with the lings. So he'll eventually get to eOnzErG's base. But it might not matter. I mean, link speed will be way ahead of schedule to keep the pressure on, even if he doesn't find him right away. And yeah, he might not only be inside his head, but he might be like an evil brain surgeon just scrambling the neurons of eOnzErG.
Yeah, because we've seen 6 games of eOnzErG now, and he hasn't dropped a 12 hatch in any of them. But after that last game, StRyKeR, it's almost like StRyKeR knows that he's navigated him into a 12 hatch here, right? So I like this. I like this from StRyKeR a lot. And there is a potential for him to just maybe even just straight up end the game if he goes to him first, but it looks like he's going cross spawn, so that might actually... Oh, no, sorry, we are actually going bottom right here.
You kind of should go bottom right. Like, I can understand initially sending the lings out a little bit towards the center. He might send one Zergling to the top right and the rest come down here to the bottom right. That's what you want to do, because you want to go close spawns rather than cross map with this fast links. If you're going to punish something, you're going to do it close spawns for sure. A lot of drones coming off the line. 6 have been pulled. They need to drill to this gas on the left-hand side. He's going to set that up manually and also pull back one of the drones at a time if he needs to. More and more Zerglings showing up. There's the drone drill as the links come down the ramp. Is a little bit ahead of schedule, though, so a lot of drones do go down. Link speed just kicking in now. Has got a lot of links, does eOnzErG, but already loses quite a few drones.
Yeah, it's an okay defense so far. He can't afford to lose his hatchery. It's kind of game losing when this hatchery goes down.
Yes.
And StRyKeR does have that speed advantage, so he's going to be able to pick the fight a bit better than eOnzErG, but eOnzErG does have that double larva production, so it's only a matter of time before he gets enough lings that he can actually defend pretty well. And it looks like StRyKeR just going to take the drone advantage, or the drone kills, I guess, and go back home.
Yeah, it kind of makes sense, because one way eOnzErG can win is by flooding lings himself. So StRyKeR might be looking at this and thinking like, okay, I don't want to have to make any more lings if I can help it. So I'm just going to hold my ramp with these. Maybe just scout with one single Zergling and call it a day. I did kill a lot of drones, so he's already kind of found compensation to punish this hatchery first.
Eon's all in, by the way. He's pulled off gas
it.
completely. There's no lair. He's just full all in on the lings. So StRyKeR has to survive, and then the mutas are his win condition. Is he making a sunken at home? I don't think he realized. Well, now he knows because he saw those lings, right? So he knows that there's a bunch of lings now.
Oh, he sees there's no gas mining.
Or if he just tries to hold. Yeah.
He sees there's no gas mining, which is huge for StRyKeR, because now he can just make a sunken if he needs to really double down on this defense while squeezing out extra pairs of Zerglings. Even just one Mutalisk will end the game, so he can really focus on just holding this ramp. The first line of Zerglings have been breached, but there's plenty more to fill their position. And eOnzErG tried so hard to stop that Ling scout that it's now heavily delayed his reinforcements as well. There's that sunken on the way. Oh my gosh, StRyKeR is inside eOn's head in a big way.
Yeah, that's fire finishing up, so we're going to see probably a couple mutas start as soon as it finishes. Yeah, there's 2 mutas on the way now, so essentially, like you said, it's if one muta gets into the main base, that's the win condition, but we have to survive until then.
Yeah, he's still going to take maybe quite a lot of damage from these lings of eOnzErG as the next round arrive. He doesn't even necessarily have to kill all the drones, but that would be a good way of trying to close things up. Eventually eOnzErG could make spores to help deal with this, but really he's trying to just get a kill move on StRyKeR right here, right now, and he's not finding it, and StRyKER's just going to play keep away with the drones, keep running them around, and suddenly eOnzErG in a lot of trouble. He is going for that spore transition to try and stabilize the game state. He ideally wanted to kill like 1 or 2 more drones at least, and then this doesn't feel as bad, but because he killed hardly any drones, StRyKER's in a pretty phenomenal position.
Yeah, I mean, StRyKER is pretty light on drones right now, but he can pretty much just drone behind this, right? Because eOnzErG just spent all of his money on creeps and spores.
Yeah. Let's see how this plays out, because it might still be enough damage from eOnzErG to slowly claw his way back in. He can't mine in his natural. He's only got 1 spore that's just barely covering the hatchery. It's not really protecting the drones too much from mining. He's in a bit of a ling stab here, seeing if he can catch a drone or 2. 1 Mutalisk has been left behind, relegated on defense duty. Trying to get a snipe on that drone now, but nice drill from StRyKER here to shut that down. It does stop the mining though. Like, these drones not mining for this long is still a bit of a win for eOnzErG.
Yeah, mistake there from StRyKER.
Yeah, ideally you want to do like a ring around the Rosie and just keep going back towards where the minerals are. We're gone. Yeah,
the game is surprisingly like up in the air still. Like, I really don't know who I'd say has the advantage. Like, StRyKER obviously has like the tempo advantage, but we see these constant link counters from eOnzErG, which is super annoying. And StRyKER kind of just wants to catch up on drones. His eco is very far behind, and he has a lot less larva access, right?
Yes. This is going to get really interesting, because StRyKER's only got 2 on gas as well. He's not super optimized against this, so the longer this game goes on, the more chance I would say eOnzErG has, and he's finally got a second spore up in his natural. That changes things now that he's got a full spore setup. I think that if eOnzErG can keep going for these ling stabs, I think suddenly he's ahead by a decent margin the longer this goes on.
Yeah, with these 4 spores up in StRyKER's drone count, I'm starting to feel this is very eOn favored. He's gonna get on top of these drones and actually kills another drone as well. He got a second drone. Oh man.
I mean, This is going to get crazy. And there's nothing StRyKeR can do about it. Like, he literally just has to stay home with the mutas to defend against this. And no matter what happens, eOnzErG might be pretty comfortable with the result. It's going to take him forever to finally get his own Lair and Spire up, but he doesn't mind. He's got all the time in the world as long as StRyKER's not able to come over and start killing his drones or something.
Yeah, I mean, with every little stab like this with these lings, StRyKER's is basically StRyKER's stuck on recovery while eOnzErG is still outmining him, right? Like, we're basically replacing drones while eOnzErG is never having to replace drones and just continues to outmine. You see the layer started now for eOnzErG, and you know, StRyKER has to continue to stay home and respect these potential ling counters. And while that's happening, eOnzErG, whenever he's ready, can start droning back up again.
This was really smart by eOnzErG. Like, he faked that he only had 4 lings to run by. StRyKER killed 3 of them and then went over to Eon's base thinking that he's dealt with the ling stab, but the real ling stab comes in belatedly to take him off guard. Another drone dying. I think that's at least 2 drones dying yet again, maybe even 3 actually. Kind of insanity. StRyKER doesn't even have enough drones to produce Mutalisks nonstop. He needs 3 more to get back onto Mutalisk production optimally. Yeah,
he's down to just 5 drones. We see extra spores coming down for eOnzErG. Just want to make sure he's still, you know, super safe, that he cannot die. We're getting 3 spores per base, and this muta count's not going to be enough to dig through that many spores.
No, this doesn't look good. Oh, that's a mistake. You shouldn't even challenge that. You're just taking damage for free. Even a 3rd spore in the natural. Eon ain't playing around. There are some Zerglings to block the ramp for StRyKER this time. But yeah, if he's going to trade HP on the mutas, that's the way you do it. Like, you do it to kill like 2 or 3 drones at a time, and then let the mutas regenerate some HP. This is a bit more effective from StRyKER, but he's kind of falling behind the curve gradually as this game progresses.
Yeah, these mutas going to have to come back now and defend these lings yet again. We have the Spire now started for eOnzErG. You know, this really is eOnzErG in a nutshell, by the way. He had like a defensive advantage with the spores. He's got the extra larvae, he has the extra drones, and he's like, I'm going to keep attacking with lings for the next 5 minutes instead of, you know, just leaning into my eco advantage.
2 more drones go down, RZ. Kind of insane how many drones have died in this game for StRyKER. He's caught between a rock and a hard place. He kind of has to be active with these mutas to shave off the drone count of eOnzErG and keep the pressure on. But Eon's just been relentless with those ling run-bys, and it's always going to be in the back of the head of StRyKER now, worried about those, although he finally feels confident enough to just gamble that there's not another one coming, and he's actually right this time around. But there are some Zerglings that have been pulled in the natural. These are also safety lings in case there was a bit of a ling flood from StRyKER. But only 1 hatchery, though. You can't really go for a ling flood to punish the spores. It's one of the reasons why I like overpull, because you can sometimes squeeze out a 2nd hatchery and then ling flood the guy that's going spores, and it's a good option to keep open.
Yeah, we actually have a drone sitting at StRyKER's natural, which he desperately needs to be mining minerals. He's got 4 on minerals right now, so every little mistake is a huge mistake at this point.
Yeah, I mean, for a second, okay, what is that drone doing? Okay, it's going back now. I was so confused. Wait, it's still just chilling. Okay, now it's going back to the main base to mine.
I was about to say, StRyKER, I know you want an expansion, but we are so far off from dropping a hatchery right now.
I mean, I guess he could just spend none of his money and take the expansion. He's nowhere close to making the hatchery yet, you know what I mean? But the main thing he can do is stay between the main base and the natural, and not allow the 2 production facilities to combine forces, so that there's actually 2 packs of mutas that are split temporarily. But that's not a tenable position. Eventually there'll be such a critical mass that has been reached by eOnzErG that won't matter anymore. We do have 10 mutas for StRyKER, and that will continue to increase, but eOnzErG now has double gas, and he will outscale StRyKER the longer this goes on.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, looking at the situation, I'm not going to say impossible, but I don't see the way back into this game right now. You know, StRyKER, he has no aggressive options because of these triple spores. He's trying to take a hidden base, but it gets spotted by this ling, and actually this drone almost going to go down.
So now he's taking a hidden base that isn't hidden anymore. So that doesn't feel good either.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing is going right for StRyKER, it seems. He was inside Eon's head temporarily, but seems like the ling backstabs were just too good from eOnzErG, and he's clawed his way back into this game quite literally and figuratively with those Zerglings, and now StRyKER's in trouble. Like, he's now got to worry about these Zerglings threatening a third base, which is so far away to defend that the Mutas can now hit his main. Like, this is just not a good option to expand if he knows about it.
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't just pivot back to his natural after that
Same.
Link spotted it out.
Same.
Yeah, he's going to get punished here. The Muta's being pulled back and forth, and this hatchery now under threat by these Lings while we're chasing the Mutas. I think we are right-clicked. Okay, no, Eon noticed very, very quickly.
Yeah, this is a very slow technical win for Eon. There's just no way of like keeping this hatchery alive and defending the main base. It's kind of insane that StRyKER's even trying to go for this base still when he knows that he's been spotted. And as you can see, he's just going to lose his drones, and then by the time he gets back to defend, eOnzErG can just fly away again. And can kind of rinse and repeat this process until that hatchery is dead or all the drones are dead. Either way, there's going to be enough damage done to the economy of StRyKER that eOnzErG is just going to start running rings around him soon.
This has been such a methodical kind of picking apart here by Eon.
Yeah, it really has. Like, it's been like a death by 1,000 cuts, and the first cut seemed like scratches and very quickly added up to very deep wounds.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a couple scratches, but then those scratches got infected.
Pretty much. GG is scored in a very convincing 3-1 win to eOnzErG, but I'll still take my hat off to StRyKER on Litmus. That was a very cute strategy with the Overlords floating over the drones, and it was really funny to see eOnzErG.exe stop working for a second there.
It was actually really cool. That might be one of the coolest ZVZ ones I've seen before.